Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am going to give you a quick update on my pre-diabetes numbers. So in March of this year, which was like 7 months ago, I had gone to the doctor and I was like the highest weight I had ever been. I gave up ADHD medicine around Hurricane Helene last year, and something I really wanted for a really long time, but just kind of felt like I couldn't do it because to give that up the first couple of weeks is debilitatingly exhausting, at least for me. I think it is for many though. And I previously was like in college and working full time. I went through my divorce. Like there was a lot of things where like I don't have time to be tired. But when Hurricane Helene happened, it was kind of that whole situation where everything was shut down and you couldn't get anything. You couldn't buy anything. Like stores had no power. Like it was just eye-opening to be like really reliant on something that if I didn't have it, like I couldn't function. It's another reason I don't really like coffee. I wish that I could give up coffee, but like all good things in time, right? But I don't like the fact that I would feel adverse if I didn't have something. I very much would like to live my life where if I went without something, I wouldn't be like altered by high means, I guess. I don't know how else to word that. So anyway, yeah, all of that happened and I had gave up taking ADHD medicine. Now, I have tried different kinds. I took for many years Ritalin, just the pill form, like that I took like 2 or 3 times a day, whatever it was. And then after some time, I didn't like when I traveled for work, like in the middle of the day, like I might be at a customer's plant. It's like, how do I excuse myself to go take medication? I just didn't like that. So I tried like long lasting all day. I will say, I think that there are more side effects when you take the long lasting all day kind. I never really had funky things until I was doing all day long lasting, like extended release capsules. I started having issues with like getting acne, but like on my scalp. And so like I had a special shampoo for like when I had an outbreak or whatever, kind of like you would do acne, but it was like a shampoo, you know? And like it wasn't like terrible, but it was like annoying, you know? And I'm so glad that I don't deal with that anymore. But yeah, and I mean I did have acne on my face too, and I tried different kinds. I did the Concerta, which is the same as Ritalin but long lasting. And I tried Adderall, made my periods like so unbearably painful. I don't know why. I don't know what the connection is there. What is that mechanism? I have a biochemistry degree and I don't know. I probably could look it up and figure it out, but I really couldn't tell you right now. But it was decided that side effect was just no thanks. So then I did Vyvanse, which was great, but it was very expensive. And for a while, my insurance covered it. Didn't like the generic. I felt like it gave me heartburn, but Vyvanse was very long lasting, and it was great when I was in school. But yeah, when I was done with school, when Hurricane Helene happened, I'd been out of school about 9 months or something like that. And I was like, okay, it's time. Like, I've met Chad. He's here helping me with the kids. Like, so, thus, I think that is where my body got really out of whack, is because I did this thing for so long, and then I stopped. I gained weight from stopping, even though I feel like my diet didn't change. My diet had been relatively unhealthy, I think, while I was in college because I wasn't eating breakfast. I was barely eating lunch. I was literally just sitting at the computer and doing my job as quickly as I could during the day to stay on track with it. But I was so tired from sleep deprivation that I felt like I was like, not confused, but just things took me longer. So I was doing my best to like really go gung-ho at that. And then I would maybe have a snack. I was drinking a lot of coffee. Like, we're talking 5 cups a day. I was drinking until I was done with work because I needed to then stay awake to do the kids after school routine, feed everybody, bathe, homework, all of that jazz, laundry, dishes. And I was a single mom for a lot of this time. It more than half, I think, of my college and work thing. I was in my divorce and I was a single mom doing it alone. I have full custody, so I had them all the time, even weekends. They got very little time away, so I had them all weekend too. So I then would do homework really late, and so then I was eating dinner, and then I was like, by the end of the night, I was like eating to stay awake and stuff, and like I was having ice cream like every night. Like it was not good habits. It was not a lot of calorie intake, but it wasn't healthy. And so then when I stopped taking the medicine, I kind of had some of these patterns still going on. So anyway, this is a super long explanation as to how I got to prediabetes. So in March, like I was saying earlier this year, all of that had come in like this, well, I guess a couple years prior, 6 months prior. And I was 225 pounds, which I hate to admit. No woman wants to talk about her weight, but that's the biggest weight I've ever been. Like, I didn't even weigh that much, like, the day that I gave birth to each of my children. And I was, like, 160 when I went through my divorce and everything. And I had kind of been that 160 for, like, a long time. So my pre-diabetes in March, my number was 5.9. And I throughout this whole process, I had convinced myself that like all of those unhealthy things, like all of that weight gain and like bad eating habits, and it wasn't awful. I wasn't like gaining weight from my diet I don't think. Maybe after I gave up the medicine. But I was eating not good things, like processed foods, lots of dairy, just quick meals, fast meals. Not a lot of takeout, but just meals from the freezer that have a lot of salt in them. Just those kinds of things, you know. And so 5.9 is right in the middle of the prediabetes range. When you go above 5.6, you are in prediabetes. And then when you go above 6.4, or when you get to 6.4, I guess, or higher, you are diabetic. So I really wanted to avoid getting diabetes. So when I got that diagnosis, I was like, okay. I considered going back on ADHD meds. Just to suppress my appetite, to be honest. I mean, because I have ADHD, there's that benefit too, but let's be honest. It helps you to not really feel hungry. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm going to like drop weight and try to eat healthy foods, but I can't be eating all these calories. Like, let me go back on my medicine. So like, I did that for a very short time. And then I was like, no, it's not worth it. I did drop 25 pounds, but it wasn't worth it. I don't want to be on meds. So my second win is that I have successfully, I had stopped it again, and I've stayed off of it, but I've not gained any of that weight back. I have kept that 25 pounds off. So, I would like to lose more than that. I would like to lose more than the 25 pounds. I'm sitting right at 200. I like will dip down and I'll be like 198, and then the next day I'll be like 201. It's like I'm right there. And so I think at this point diet only goes so far, and I have to start doing actual exercise. Which, like, sadness. Okay. So I got rechecked in June, and it was still 5.9. And I was in the midst of like losing the weight and changing my diet, and I was very deflating to be the same exact number. I'm like, well, at least it's not going up. So at least I'm doing something right, that it's staying the same. Now I started like pricking my fingers and checking my numbers, and I started to learn what my triggers were. I started to learn like what my body doesn't do well with sugar. I definitely have the dawn phenomenon, which is, you know, oh well. But I think learning my triggers was more beneficial to me than any other changes that I made. So like I now know that chocolate and white bread are like the worst things for me. I know that they say to avoid like pastas and white bread anyway, anything with a bunch of carbs in it, but whenever I eat those two things, my numbers, like, it's like a spike. It'll spike really high, and then my body will correct it, and it'll come back down, but I don't think that those high spikes, those quick drops, are good for your system. I would much rather find things that, sure, you know, they elevate me, but it's like a kiddie roller coaster, you know, and not like Six Flags. But yeah, so that has been really helpful, I think. I was not much of a soda drinker before, but when I went out to like a restaurant, which we do like either once a week or like once a pay period, which is 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's not a lot, but even in that, I have started to avoid white bread or bread in general, and I am only getting water with lemon. I am not getting anything else. No sweet tea, no sodas, juices, none of that. So anyway, I got checked this week for my A1C, and I was like, okay, I'm gunning for 5.8. I really wanted a 5.8. So they did the finger prick thing. Well, they stabbed my finger, and then they like took blood from my finger, and I left the office, and it hit my chart like within 30 minutes, and it was 6.8, and I about like rolled over. I was like, that's a typo. They meant to do 5.8. My doctor immediately called me. Fantastic doctor. Can't recommend her enough. She immediately called me and was like, I made the lab recheck it like twice because it was like, what? And she was like, no, it's 6.8. And so then she was like, let's do the like vein draw from your arm because that's more accurate for A1C. I'm like, okay. So I went back to the office and they did a blood draw, and it didn't hit my chart until like that evening, because that one they had to like send off to a lab or whatever, and it was 5.5, and that was the greatest feeling. I've not forgotten that finger result. I don't know what that's about. But my blood draw came back that my blood glucose at that time, and I'd been fasting, by the way, all day, just in case we did blood work. So this is a fasting result. And my glucose at that exact moment in time was 86. And I couldn't believe it because I've been pricking my fingers for 7 months, and only one time out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of finger pricks have I had a number below 100. And it was 95. It was not even that low. And it was totally random. It was at like 5 p.m. right before dinner on like a random day. I don't know. And I've never seen a number below 100 again. So I don't know what it is about testing with my fingertips, but apparently it's skewed. I don't know. I have no answer. I have no answer whatsoever for that. I tested myself in the parking lot, and it was 113 in my finger. And then their result with my vein, 86. Maybe I'm just new to all this, and you're watching this and you're like, duh, yeah, but like, I don't know. So anyway, I have been talking for an exorbitant amount of time. This is going to end up being its own video. So, I am overjoyed that I'm in the normal range, that I've seemingly reversed my pre-diabetes. However, I think I still have a long way to go. I would still like to try to lose another 25 pounds and see what my numbers are. I almost want to ask them to do the finger and the vein every time now, just to see how off they are each time. I don't know. I hope that if you're watching this and you have been dealing with this for a long time, you can have some comments down below and help me to understand this pattern. So, but thank you for watching. Thank you for celebrating with me. And I can't wait to update you later on how it's going. Bye.